This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with guitarist David K Starr, solo artist and member of Wildestarr. Today we're talking about your latest single, Not Dead Yet, came out just a couple of weeks ago. Originally you had wrote this song about your experiences with Parkinson's disease, but the song became bigger than that. Why don't you tell me more about how the song developed?
Well, I was diagnosed in 2020, and it really wasn't until about a year and a half ago when I started writing the song. And I think the origin of the song was writing about my disease. But I really felt like as I was refining the lyrics and working more and more on the song, I realized that I didn't really want to write a song about myself. It was sort of a message to the world about reaching out to try to help people who are in similar circumstances to find hope or find some kind of inspiration to stand tall and to not give in when they're going through whatever hell it is that they have going on in their life, whether it's an illness, which is my situation, or whether the loss of a spouse or a loved one, or dealing with a broken heart or whatever. But so I never mentioned Parkinson's in the song, which I thought would be kind of goofy anyway if I was going to do something like that. So I just basically tried to turn it into a message to everybody out there who could relate. And I've had some pretty good feedback so far from people who say they've been going through some tough times, and the song really struck a chord with them. So it's pretty cool.
So has continuing to write and play and compose music been sort of your cathartic therapy for dealing with this, or is it a combination of things?
It's a combination of things. I own a business that I run from home, so I have a lot of things going on in my life, and the music, I think, is cathartic because I've been playing music forever, and it's obviously something that's in my blood. But what I tell people is that in this kind of situation is to basically, you got to stay busy, no matter what it is, no matter whether it's music or, for me, or running my business. It's real important to not sit around and feel sorry for yourself and wallow in misery and woes me. Why did this happen to me? The fact is, it is real. It is happening to me. But the last thing I want to do is really just sit around and feel sorry for myself, because I don't have the time for it. I got too many things going on, and that's a big message. Is that you got to keep moving, no matter what happens. You got to keep moving. You got to stay focused, and you got to stay busy. Got to stay active, and that's an important message. So yeah, the music is a big part of my life, but I have other things going on too, and it all encompasses into what I just relayed a minute ago. Is just, you got to stay busy. It's so important, especially dealing with this kind of a situation. And in my situation, it's an illness that's progressive, and it has no cure. So I'm still moving forward and doing the best I can.
You're a guitar player by trade for the last 40 years or so. Was there any apprehension in taking on vocals for the first time with your latest single?
Oh yeah, it scared the crap out of me. Because I did three albums with my wife, London Wilde, with my band Wildestarr previous to this. She's an incredible singer, and I kind of felt a little strange about maybe following in those footsteps. But I asked her for some a little bit of guidance and help. When I told her I wanted to do this, she was a little, "Are you sure about this?" Because nobody's really heard. She'd never heard me sing before. But our recording studio is here at home, and we went into the studio, and she gave me a little bit of guidance and a little bit of a few tips here and there. But it's all me. But yeah, I was nervous because I didn't know. I believed in what I was. I thought it was good. I thought it turned out good, and I thought the video turned out really good. So, do I have the greatest voice in the world? No, but I don't think. I think it's a situation where the song was so important and so personal to me and so heartfelt that really there wasn't anybody who could sing it but me. So that played a big part in it. Now, if I was really, really terrible and couldn't hold a tune and couldn't stay in key, and that's something we'd have to cross the bridge and maybe get somebody else to do it. But I think it all worked out okay. But yeah, I was nervous. I was definitely nervous, especially with the video going along with it, because it's a situation where when you write a song and then say you do the video, we've sat and listened to it for months and months, hundreds of times, refining it, re-recording some parts, filming the video, editing, all this thing. And we've heard it over and over and over again in our heads. So we think this is really good. But does that mean I remember the day I launched the video on YouTube and pushed the live button or whatever it is, I thought, oh boy, here we go. What's going to happen? Because I had no idea what people are going to think. And I was nervous. But the response has been really good. So I'm pretty ecstatic about that.
It's a good tune. It's a good video. And, it's metal. You can cheat it a little bit if your voice isn't, operatic or something like that. That's the fun of hard rock and heavy metal.
Well, to me, I don't really have any vocal inspirations because I've never considered myself a singer. I have my favorite singers like Rob Halford, Jeff Tate, Paul Stanley. I could go on and on, but the thing that the person who I think I sound most like is actually Alice Cooper,
yes.
Who has sort of a real aggressive voice, but it still works in sort of a melodic structure of the song. I had never really considered Alice Cooper, but then when I sat back and listened to it, a couple of people told me, "Hey, you sound a little bit like Alice Cooper." I listened back to it and I thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. I see it. And the guy's been around forever and he's an icon. So if somebody wants to compare me to Alice Cooper, that's cool.
You mentioned that you were diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2020. What were some of the symptoms you were experiencing that led you to get that diagnosis?
Well, I started getting some tremors in my right hand and right arm, and my wife noticed it. And so I procrastinated a bit, but I finally got myself to a neurologist, and he did a bunch of visual tests on me, which I thought was really weird. I had to walk up and down the hallway, and he watched the way I walked. Then he did some things with my fingers and eyes and follow this, and did things with my legs. And he said, you're in early stages of Parkinson's disease. So that was followed up by an actual DAT scan and an MRI, which solidified his initial diagnosis. So yeah, it's been 5 years from now. But it all started with the tremors in my right hand, and it's pretty much limited to my. This is Parkinson's right here, in case you've never seen it before. So I have some days that are better than others, but I'm taking my meds every day, and I actually get stress and anxiety kind of triggers it a little bit. So whenever I do these interviews, even though I've done a lot of interviews in my career, I still get nervous.
Me too.
And yeah, so I still get nervous. So leading up to this, the tremors kind of kicked in a little bit worse. So they're a little bit worse right now than what they were, say, half an hour ago or 45 minutes ago. So,
So
but I think that's a good thing though, because it just shows at least if I didn't care, I wouldn't. To me, getting nervous just means I care about what I'm doing, questions I'm being asked, talking to you, and if it stresses me out a little bit so that it triggers my Parkinson's, that just means I care about what we're talking about. So that's my take on it.
you mentioned that Parkinson's is incurable. It's progressive. You mentioned that you're on medication. So are the medications do help with what you're experiencing? Is there also a portion of physical therapy that goes along with this too?
Yeah, I have some exercises with my hands and my arms that I do. The problem with the medication is that my neurologist told me that I'm basically on the ceiling for where he said where I'm at right now with there's 5 stages of Parkinson's. One is the earliest level. Um, 5 is really bad. Is probably where Michael J. Fox is probably in stage 5 right now. I'm probably in stage 1.5 or 2. But my neurologist said that the problem is the medication that I take. I'm already taking the maximum dosage, and he says you can take more medication, but it won't help me anymore. So where do we go from here? There's to me, somewhat radical surgery. It's called DBS, which stands for deep brain stimulation, where they drill holes in you. They drill holes in your brain,
Yeah.
your skull, and they put electrodes down in there that go to a pacemaker type device, and they send electrical current to stimulate the areas of the brain that are basically dying, that are affected by Parkinson's. And like a lot of people, I'm not too crazy about having holes drilled into my head, so I'm gonna I'm gonna hold off until it's absolutely necessary. Because yeah, the thought of that is not doesn't sound too fun. But
Right.
we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Maybe next year. I don't know, unless there's some kind of breakthrough. Uh, but right now, it's that's the next step is the deep brain stimulation.
Now I've noticed you've been talking about your dealings with Parkinson's a lot. I've seen a lot of interviews that you've been talking about this along with the single and everything. Do you think that you're a little more comfortable in dealing with it now than say when you were first diagnosed?
Yeah, I didn't really feel. I actually did one interview with Larry Petro uh, when I got diagnosed. As a matter of fact, I approached him at a club here in Houston, and I said, "Hey, I got something I'd like to talk to you about." And we sat down outside at one of the tables and we talked about this. So that's the only interview that I did that talked about this. And I never really mentioned it again. I'm not the kind of person, a lot of people on social media who are really desperate for attention bring up every little thing that's going on in their life. And I think we've kind of lost track of, some things not everybody needs to know about. And if I hadn't have wrote this song, then maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation today. I still would have said, hey, what's going on in my life is going on in my life. I don't need or want to talk about it. But when it coincides with the song, then I've kind of figured like, well, Parkinson's was the origin of the song. So what's the point in doing interviews and not talking about the crap that I'm dealing with on a day in, day out basis? So, yeah, the cat's out of the bag. It's cool. I'm okay with it. It's frustrating, but is it helpful for me to talk about it? Yeah, I guess so. But like I said, I don't think I'd be talking about it if it wasn't for the track, because they do go hand in hand. And yeah, here we are. I've done a lot of these interviews so far, and Parkinson's is right up there, and I guess it's good. I mean, I think that the more people know about it, the disease, the better people can understand it and know the symptoms, like say when they see other family members maybe that might be going through the same thing. So, it's helpful to people as much as I feel the message in the song is helpful to people. If my also talking about what I'm going through is helpful to people, hey, then that's a bonus too. It's all good.
Now, having written this song and released this song into the internet universe, has it inspired you to write any more music?
Yeah, I'm working on some new stuff right now. An interesting thing about that is that I felt that I wanted to, with the song, I wanted to tell my story or tell a story and reach out to people and inspire others. What I never anticipated was people getting back to me and inspiring me, because a lot of people like yourself are asking, hey, this song's really good. What do what's next? And I never really thought about that until these people started asking me. They're like, Dave, this song, people have said, Dave, this song is really good. Is this a single from an album? Is this a teaser track from an upcoming CD? What are you doing next? So I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from people about encouraging me to keep playing. So that was an unexpected bonus from this thing, because I was just all about and trying to inspire other people. And then here I got all these people who are actually inspiring me. And it's important because I literally, I don't know how long I have to live, or how long I can keep playing music, playing guitar, because I did have to, Parkinson's has affected my guitar playing. There's no two ways about it. So if you listen to the records I did with Wildestarr, I played all the guitars and all the bass. So it was a lot of work for me. And I did a lot of really intense guitar work. And I can't play on that level anymore. That's just the fact. So what I did on this song, Not Dead Yet, was I just, instead of stressing out about it, I just said, okay, let's just do what you can do and play within your comfort zone. And I brought things down a notch or two in terms of the lead guitar stuff and maybe rhythmically some of the riffs. So it's a little more simplified than what I'm used to doing, but I still think it sounds good. But yeah, the thing about Parkinson's is there's no crystal ball to know where you're going to be 6 months or a year from now. I have a friend of mine who I've been dealing with this for 5 years. And I had a friend of mine who went from Parkinson's to dying from Parkinson's related problems in less time than I've been dealing with it. And then you got a guy like Michael J. Fox, who is a very unusual situation, where he's had this for almost 30 years and he was diagnosed at a very young age, which is very unusual. Most of the people who get Parkinson's are in their 50s or 60s. So that's where I'm at. I'm 64 now. So I think I was 59 or so, or when I was diagnosed. But yeah, the clock is ticking. So when you're 64, when you're at the age of somebody like I am at, even if you're healthy, you know the clock is ticking, because how many years you've got less years in front of you than you have behind you. But when you have an incurable progressive disease like Parkinson's, it really does make you think like, wow, I may not even be able to play in a year or two. So I got to I'm one of these, a lot of musicians will tell you, and I'm going to be in the same boat. I'm going to die with 50 songs that are never realized. And I think that's just that. As long as I've got a lot of ideas and I don't have enough time left on this planet to get everything out that I want to get out, but it's important to try to do what you can and get what's out, and so the music can live beyond our mortal existence. I always say music is timeless, and great music has no expiration date on it. So, yeah, it's just a crazy thing to be going through. But yeah, this whole thing has definitely given me the incentive to maybe speed up the process a little bit to try to get some more stuff out. I'd like to maybe try to release 1 or 2 songs a year from here on out, as long as I can keep playing. And if it gets to the point where if I can't pull off the guitar stuff anymore, then I'll go back to playing bass, and I'll have somebody else play guitar parts that I write if I can't pull them off. And then when I can't play bass, maybe I'll pick up the tambourine, or I'll play the triangle. Yeah, but I'm going to keep doing whatever I can do as long as I can.
You mentioned earlier you have a business at home. I believe it's Starr Guitar Systems. Explain to me a little bit about what it's about.
Well, I've been doing guitar repair work for almost 45 years. And my main forte has always been guitar electronics. So about 10 years ago, I stopped doing all the other guitar repair stuff and started this company, and I'm just strictly building wiring harness, electronic system components upgrades for guitar and bass, hand building everything myself. And it started in the garage, and then we cleared out one of the bedrooms, so the workshop's here in the bedroom at home, and it's pretty neat. Now, a lot of people might think like, well, what about your Parkinson's? Okay, the answer to that is soldering is what I have to do. Soldering is the key with a soldering gun. So soldering is not like throwing a football or a baseball where most people are either right or left-handed. I can solder pretty much with either hand. So if I have problems with my right hand and I'm building a system, I just switch to my left hand and just keep going. But usually it's not a problem. And I think it's probably because maybe God's saying, you got to get this stuff done today. So you don't have time for this. So let's put the shaking down for a couple hours so you can build these 5 systems. I don't know what it is, but I keep going and going and going. And But yeah, it's been great. I've been um, I love doing guitar electronics. It's something I enjoy doing, and it's become a very profitable. I went from making no money to um, I never really owned a business before. I'd always worked at other guitar repair shops, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I started this business in terms of the nuts and bolts of running a business. And I went from doing nothing and not knowing what I was doing to turning it into a six-figure business with customers all over the world. And I'm about ready to build in the next month or so. I will have hit my 10,000th wiring harness. So it's going to be a big milestone. And I've got a couple of good. I've had some. I don't really have an endorsement program, but I have John Butcher, who's a pretty well-known guitar player. John Butcher Axis. He's bought one of my Strat systems. Barry Dunaway, the bassist from 38 Special, just bought one of my jazz bass systems. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, we're keeping it a mom and pop thing. It's just me and my wife. My wife handles the shipping department, and I do all the builds and answer all the technical questions or emails and phone calls. So yeah, it's been it's nice to be a business owner and be able to work from home, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, the business is in 10 years. It's come a long way, and it's nice to be able to do something that's music related and that I enjoy doing. I like building things. I like working with my hands, and electronics is just something I'm really good at. So yeah, that's the whole story behind Starr Guitar Systems.
Now, you mentioned a couple of times your last active band was Wildestarr, and the vocalist for that group is your wife, London Wilde. From what I understand, she's had a bit of a medical issue herself that she's on the mend from. If you don't mind talking about it, how's she doing?
She's doing really good. She had a stroke last year, and just kind of came out of nowhere. Luckily, she was driving when it hit. And luckily, she wasn't on the freeway. She was on one of the feeder roads here in town near the freeway. So she just like took the pulled off to the right, off to the nearest side road, and called me. So yeah, it was pretty scary. She spent a couple of days in the hospital, and she's been recovering, and she actually just had a pacemaker installed last week in Houston. So yeah, it's been scary, but I jokingly tell people, it's like, hey, we have strokes and we have Parkinson's here in this family, so it's like go big or go home. If you don't laugh about it, you're gonna cry. So you got to just, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Do you think she'll be up and singing anytime soon, or still too early to say?
I kind of left that open to her, which is one of the things that opened the door for this, for Not Dead Yet to happen, which is because she felt that she couldn't sing on the same level that she was used to doing. So, but I had a talk with her, a couple talks with her recently. I said, hey, if you want to get back in the studio, give stuff, because I had most of the guitar music written for what would have been our fourth album. So I got a lot of ideas, and if she's ready to give it another shot, I'm here. And it's all good. I just didn't want to pressure her. And I just told her, I said, hey, I need to keep going, and I got this song idea about dealing with this Parkinson's thing. So yeah, we just put the band on hiatus, and we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm just doing my thing.
You started in the industry, way back in the 80s, the early 80s. You were a member of Vicious Rumors, the Bay Area thrash band. You appeared on their early albums, Soldiers of the Night, Digital Dictator, Self-Titled, Welcome to the Ball. The first three albums are considered like the pinnacle in their genre. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. When we were making those records, we didn't really know what we were doing in terms of, we never thought, okay, Soldiers of the Night first album came out 40 years ago, and then Digital Dictator, the follow-up, which a lot of people say is just an incredible, the best VR album. You're just going into the studio, you're young, and you don't really know what you're doing. You don't really know what life's about. You're just trying to make the best music you can. And it's funny how things work out when now all these years later, people are saying that those albums are fans tell me that the music that I made, particularly in VR/Visual Drummers, that the albums I made with VR are part of the soundtrack of their life. And that's a pretty powerful thing to hear from somebody. And it's the kind of thing that when I've met famous musicians who were influenced to me, I'd say the same thing. Like, hey, you were a big influence on me, or you were the soundtrack now of my life. So it kind of makes you pinch yourself when you hear something like that, because to know that you've done something that people find not just enjoyable at the time, but they're still listening to those records, and those records are still selling. It's pretty cool. It's definitely it's amazing to hear that from people and to know. I tend to not try to. I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't listen to those records very often because I don't really listen to the stuff that I did in the past. I don't know why. I just don't listen to a lot of those VR albums very often. Part of the problem is that with the singer Carl Albert dying in 1995, it's a little tough for me to take, but because I've dealt with it from not as a fan perspective. Everybody hears something and they hear it in a different way. When I hear those old records, when I'm driving my truck or my car, going to the post office to ship orders for Star Guitar Systems or whatever I'm doing, sometimes I'll pop in a CD or whatever, or I'll pull something up on YouTube and I'll hear Carl's voice and I can't take it. I just turn into, a babbling idiot. And maybe I should learn to live with it since it's been 30 years, but it's just a little still too tough for me to take. But I am proud of those records that we did. Soldiers, Digital, then we get signed to Atlantic, Self-Titled, Welcome to the Ball. Then we did a live album in Japan. I left the band and then came back in 2006 to do the Warball CD. But yeah, they're great. They're great albums. It was a great time in my life. It was a great time to be alive. We did a lot of touring. We went to Europe a couple of times, in Japan, all over the US a couple of times, Mexico City. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And we made music that I think will stand the test of time.
Do you talk to Jeff Thorpe at all?
No. I have not talked to Jeff in 12 or 13 years. And I did not talk to Mark and Larry for a long time. I have recently, say within the last 6 months to a year, been communicating with them on Facebook through Messenger. And I'd probably talk to Mark more than Larry, but yeah, it's good to be in touch with them and to be on communications with them again, especially after everything that we've been through in the past. And I'd like to think when people get older, they realize that the time is short and that sometimes the petty squabbles and the stupid things that we did in our lives that cause things to blow up or go in different directions are not as significant or profound as maybe we all thought they were 30, 35 years ago. I think Mark and Larry are on that same page as I am. I don't think Jeff is, but I won't speak for Jeff. That's really all I can say. He had an accident. I heard Larry told me he had an accident and hurt himself really badly in Europe earlier this year on tour. And I wish him all the best. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I don't have anything bad to say about the guy. We went through some great times together. We made a lot of incredible music together. We've had some definite falling outs and some bad things that have happened, but I'd like to think at the end of the day, the good outweighs the negative. And that's my opinion of where it stands right now. I hope that things will change. Let's just with Jeff and I sometime in the future, hopefully sooner rather than later. We're not getting any younger, and I'm not getting any healthier.
Now, when Atlantic Records does all these re-releases and anniversary editions of the past Vicious Rumors album, do you get any involvement in that?
No, I don't. I know that there was a 3 CD package that was put together a year or two ago. I did not get one. I've been told that I'm owed some money from that whole thing, and that is kind of yet to be determined. I don't really know what's going on. I did the furthest I dived into that was I saw somebody had scanned the liner notes, and I read the CD liner notes, and I read, and I was able to read the booklet. And because I was a little nervous, because I know Jeff controls everything having to do with VR as much as he can. And of course I knew he was going to have a lot to do with this. So I thought, oh my God, what's he going to say? But from what I read, he took the high road, and he said good, from what I could see in the scans, he took the high road and said good things about me. And that was pretty cool. Yeah. But I thought about a couple of years ago, Larry had asked me to come. I'm in Texas now. I live in about 35 miles north of Houston. And the last time they were in town, Larry asked me to. This was really before Larry and I started communicating back and forth. He would send me messages and I wouldn't respond to them. And he said, hey, why don't you come down? We're playing in Houston. Why don't you come down? We've got, a couple of the new Atlantic 3 CD packages for you. And this was 2 years ago. And, my mindset was like, I'm not going down there. I don't want, no, I'm not going. I didn't even respond to him. So I thought about buying one of those things on eBay just to check it out, but I haven't even seen one yet. I heard it's cool, and I heard they were, I think, remixed or remastered. So, yeah, that's where that stands. I don't even own one myself.
Well, David, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new single, Not Dead Yet, it's out now. Great album. Great song, great video. And I want to thank you for being upfront and honest about your Parkinson's diagnosis and how you've been dealing with it. And I wish you the best going forward. I will pray for you, and I wish you the best of luck with everything.
Hey, I really appreciate the chat, and thanks for having me. It means a great deal to have this time to talk with you.